All right, so we got another one of my favorites, the Me-262 World War II jet fighter plane, which is crazy to think about that there was a jet fighter plane at the end of World War II. I mean, just imagine what they could have come up with if the war kept going on. Obviously, that would have been a bad thing, so I'm glad it didn't. But yeah, they had some really innovative aircraft come out of World War II. All right, so everything just slides out in one piece, looks like. So here it is. That actually looks pretty good, even like that. I mean, obviously I'm gonna open it, but I just like the way it looks. So we have two boxes, looks like probably accessories. One right here, and then one right here as well. And then I'm gonna get all these wire ties off and get this off as well. All right, so I'm gonna start off and say I really appreciate the packing on this one. There was literally only like 5 wire ties. There's like one here, 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 and then in the middle. And most of these models come with like 20 wire ties a piece. I'm not kidding, it's crazy. But they also put this little foam on top of it, little packing stuff, to keep the wire tie from scraping the paint, which I really do appreciate too. So right off the bat, this is a really good looking paint job too. Merit, JSI did it again. I wish they were still in business. I mean, it even has some weight to it. Really, it does. I mean, I reviewed the Admiral Toys version of the Me-262, but this far supersedes it as far as quality goes already, I can tell. All right, and so the wing assembly just comes off. I have to get the wire ties off, again, with the packing protection. Look at that paint job. This is one of my favorite paints, especially for the Me-262. Let's give you all a close-up. And the wheels fall down and also lock up, which I'll show you all later. All right, so here's what came in the box. Now we're gonna get to these little accessory package. See what came in here. Looks like the rear stabilizers. Yeah, and here's the instruction manual as well. And also some bombs. So for the second accessory box, looks like we have drop tanks, which is really interesting because I didn't know the Me-262 had drop tanks, but apparently it did. And then also, looks like, I think these were JATO boosters. I'm gonna have to get back with you on that, but basically like rocket pods to help them take off faster. I'm not 100% sure. Let me do some research and I will get back with you on that. And then here's just the hard points, looks like, for the drop tanks. All right, so let's take a look at the instructions here. Again, good job on the paint. Little weathering. Oh, look at that. That is funny. So this is a JSI Merit, but it still has the 21st Century Toys logo because they got their mold of this same jet from 21st Century Toys because they also made an Me-262. That's funny. I didn't even realize that. None of their other planes I've seen so far had that. They were all unbranded, but it looks like they left it on there, which doesn't bother me because it's underneath. All right, so here are the instructions. Very basic, optimal position. Looks like it's showing you. And then we'll have to put some screws in the bottom to assemble the wings, the fuselage. And it looks like the guns, the gun doors do open up, so you can see that's pretty cool. That's what the Admiral Toys version did, so let's get to look at it. All right, guys, so I was worried there for a bit because I could not find the screws. I didn't find them, they were still in one of the packages, but there we go. There's the screws and then also the covers that go to make sure you can't see them whenever you install it. All right, so let's get to the installation. What you do is you flip it over, and there's gonna be these 4 holes here that are gonna line up with the wings. Let me flip it over like this. And then you kind of slot it in like that. So there's a little tab right here. Goes like this, and you're just gonna push it down into place. On both sides, be very careful, especially with the antenna on the other side. But you're just gonna push it down. There we go. And then we're gonna take the screws, and they fit into these 4 slots right here. Okay, so once you get the wing installed, you have these little plastic pieces. See if you can see them. That just basically cover up the holes. And they're different sizes. So I think the rear are actually more shallow than the front. As you can see here, they're a little thicker because there's a deeper hole here. So just gonna put those in real quick. All right, I do want to point something else out. There's a little lip right there, if you can see it. And there's also a little cutout right there. So you want to make sure you line that cutout with that lip and it fits in perfect. That way you know. I'm probably going to put some ticky-tack in there because looks like these might just fall out. Same with the back, has a cutout. Except the cutouts to the side and the back. Right there. Alright, looks much better than seeing screw holes. So I appreciate that they did that. Quick look. Oh, yep, see. Told you it was going to fall out, so I'll just use some ticky-tack to help hold that in. But first look, pretty good. I really like it with the wings on. And honestly, it does feel hefty, guys. I know you can't obviously feel it, but most of these models don't feel hefty. They feel really light. But this one, for whatever reason, the front end, I mean, almost feels like there's metal or something in there. But so far, so good. All right, so next we're going to do the rear stabilizers. And they're pretty simple, honestly. You just line it up. It's got this little slot. Goes in like this. And then you just gently pop it in. And there's going to be a hole here. You want to make sure you line that up like that. Right? Same thing with the other side. That's the hole I was talking about. It's like that. And they actually do move, which I appreciate. Don't move them a whole lot because it might break. I mean, it definitely moves, but still not 100% confident in that. So I'm probably going to leave them there. But I do appreciate they at least move. Same thing with the rudder. Again, not really confident in that, if I'm honest with you. Feels pretty fragile, so probably leave it like that. But it doesn't look like anything's broken. It's just really loose. So I'm going to go ahead and show you all the landing gear so I can leave this set up. It'll be easier for me to show you everything else. But I love how they did the landing gear. The wheels themselves are rubber and they spin pretty good. They also included a locking tab here. So see that little post? This actually lines up and you just slide it in like that. That way it keeps the wheels from collapsing on you and potentially messing up the model. I like that they did that. It's a little detail like that. See how that just flops in like that? If you didn't have that locking tab, that could definitely mess up the model, especially with the antenna on and also the bombs, etc. So, all right, so there's the rear landing gear. Pretty simple. Same thing. When you put them down, you just lift these tabs, but be careful because these are fragile and they don't lock. Looks like good there. So, okay, so one thing about Merit with the front landing gear, especially on the Dauntless, you have to be very careful when you lift it up because sometimes these tabs are fragile in here and they'll break. But this one, oh, it doesn't look like it has that issue. It's got a solid piece instead of little tabs there, but still. And then whenever you're opening up the front, be careful. You can pull this up a little bit, just don't pull too hard because that's attached to the front landing gear and you don't want to break that off. So this does have a locking tab. You want to pull it all the way front, just not too far because it definitely will snap. And then there is a locking tab in there, which is right here. And then there's a slot down there. See that? You have to kind of pull it a little bit and then slide that in like that. And that'll keep the front gear from collapsing. Another thing I'm going to point out real quick because I do think it's important. If you want to put the landing gear back, make sure you kind of have to pull back and then slide it back. And then as you're closing it, if you just try to close it, it kind of wants to stop. That's okay. It's kind of like spring loaded. So you'll just have to push past it like that to close it. And also this is a rubber material too. So pretty happy with that. All right, so now that we got the gear down, I will show you what it looks like with the gear down. All right, very happy with that. And also the stance, because this front nose strut was pretty long. So that looks really good too. Show you the canopy in a little bit. All right, another cool thing, the ailerons do move. Show you that too. And then the flaps as well, they do. Now, again, it's one of those things where you gotta be careful because Merit, for whatever reason, when they design these, their tabs, you can't really go that far down and they kind of feel like they're gonna snap like I guess a little post that goes in here or here wasn't designed 100%. So just be careful if you do that, but at least you have the option. I do appreciate that because it gives you flexibility to set it up how you want. Let me show you what it looks like. You can see, kind of see the flaps down there. So it did come with 2 antennae you need to install. One's this literally small piece right here, and it's gonna go in this back section, and you just push it down like that. It stays in place. That's why I wanted to get the landing gear down so it wouldn't mess us up. And then this one right here, which actually goes in this slot there, it's only gonna go in like this, and it pushes in pretty well. Okay, and I'll show the landing gear going down too. That way you can see what it's like when it's flush. You just pop that little piece that way, and then it should just lay down like that. And then you just push it a little bit, not too hard. And then this piece, careful with these right here, it snaps in place like that. So it looks really flush. But if you're going to do that, again, maybe remove this antenna here, or just be careful because it sticks out further. Let me show you. It sticks out further than the actual engines themselves. So just be careful with that. Same thing with the front gear. Make sure you push that to pull a little bit and then push it to the side. And remember, it's kind of spring loaded right there. Push it down. And that doesn't stay very well. It kind of sticks out. So depending on how you want to display it, there's that. Just want to show you all what it looks like with the gear up. How skinny that is. Looks like a shark to me. I like it. I mean, this thing was ahead of its time back then in World War II. Of course, it was towards the end of the war, so didn't really see a whole lot of action, but when it did, it just basically destroyed everything in its way. Okay, so we'll install these next. Again, I tried to find them online. I couldn't find them. Maybe it's a rocket. Doesn't look like it to me. Looks like a JATO, which is basically a takeoff assist. That is purple. I don't know if y'all can see that very well, but this is black, and they did paint this a dark purple for some reason. I don't know if that's accurate. Please let me know in the comments what these are, but it would make sense that they would be takeoff assist just based on, for one, where they're installed, and then two, the way they look. Let me put this on here. So they just pop in pretty good like that. Okay, so to install the bombs or the drop tanks, you have to attach the hard points first, and they only go in one way. You can see there's a bigger hole here, a smaller hole there, and the way it's designed, this canters down to the right a little bit, which matches the fuselage. So let me pop that on real quick. That's a good fit. And then of course, you don't have to install these at all if you want to. These are optional. So, and then we'll start with the drop tanks. If you want to do the drop tanks, just have these two little tabs. They line up right in the center there, which you'll push down. Same thing with the other side, of course. Those are kind of a weird fit, if I'm honest with you. They don't lock in very well. They just kind of sit in the middle. There's not like a hole or anything. So, don't really like those, but I'll show you what it looks like at least. So you can decide if you want to do bombs or drop tanks. That's what it looks like with the drop tanks. It looks weird to me. To be honest with you, it looks very unproportional. And it looks really good without them, but I'll just show you also, at least you can decide if you get this model. All right, now we'll go with the bombs. Same thing, they just slide in. I wish they would have done them a little more secure, like with tabs, because it doesn't look as good for one, but I'm not gonna be displaying them with bombs or the tanks anyways. I just think it looks better sleek. But there we go. At least you can see what it looks like with the bombs and the tanks. And of course, I will show you all without the nose gear down as well and the landing gear down. All right, I just noticed something else too. These slats actually slide out as well. I think they were designed to help with lift at lower speeds. Look at that. That is a really cool detail. I appreciate that they did that because obviously, you didn't need it. They could have just made it look like that, and I almost overlooked it. All right, so something I'm actually pretty glad they did. They did this with the F-86 as well. You can lift up the front tab here and see the guns inside. Which these guns are crazy. I mean, I think they were cannons. They would just demolish anything in front of them. And they do come with two of these little posts, one for either side, which if you want to display it this way, you can. Okay, so I turned it around the other side. That was actually really hard to get in. If you look here, the other one, let's see if I can focus. There's a half moon design there, and the way that they have it is the half moon is down, right? So it's really hard to push it in. I had to like stand it up on its nose to get it in there. And then it doesn't have a slot up here. You just kind of rest it wherever you want, but it's there. If you like it, you have that option. Okay, so now I'll give you an overview. Looks like this is the pitot tube here. You have a light on the wingtip. You have some writing on the side too. If you know what that is, shoot me a message in the comments. I do not speak German. And then on the front, let's see, we have A3, B4, looks like MIT 3%, and then I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Maybe I will. Schmeischerstow. Let me know if I got that right. If anybody speaks German that's watching my channel, I would love to know, because I love how y'all help in all my other previous videos. Any German language or anything, y'all help me figure out what it means in the comments, so keep them coming. I really appreciate it. I don't know if that's ammo rounds, like the quantity, 80 in the back, maybe 100 in the front. Either way looks good. Of course, this is where the guns would come out of, or the cannons. You can even see some detail they put there, like gunpowder. The nose, looks like they added some weathering there. Oh, there's some, don't know what that means. Same thing. As far as inside the engines, you can see a little detail, but not much. And they don't actually spin. I mean, just a little detail there. And then here's some insignia right here. I'll show you all a detailed cockpit view here in a second as well. Here's another light on the wingtip. And that looks like a health symbol, so not sure if in there's like a medic kit or something. Don't know what that 9K means. It's hard for me to learn all the aircraft that I review, and sometimes it's hard to find them, like find information on each one. I think this was an antenna loop or a radio loop for direction finding, if I'm not mistaken. So pretty cool they included that as well. Let me show you the cockpit here, but before we do that, there is some more writing there. I'm gonna say that's a step. I'm gonna guess that folds in and you can put your foot there to step up. Again, let me know. There's another B4. And then also on the rudder has something as well. So I like that they did that. Obviously there's probably a reason that they put those on there. Maybe it was what was on the specific aircraft. And I like that they're trying to get those details correct. The canopy just opens like that. Try to show you some of the detail in the cockpit. Not a whole lot of detail, but at least they did put paint. And they did include the stick, which is nice. And then there's the sight. The gauges are all blank, but I mean, it looks like they put gray in there. All right, so onto the other side. You can see the throttle right there. Some more gauges. Looks like they tried to add white weathering or gray weathering. I don't know what that is. Definitely looks like it was on purpose. Okay, again, so because Merit didn't include any pilots, I took this one from the 21st Century Toys. I think it was a BF 109 or ME 109, but he looks a little small, so I might have to get somebody else, but let's just see how he fits in here. It's supposed to be 1/18 scale as well. So, I mean, he fits in there pretty good. I don't know if that's accurate to size, because he looks tiny. I might have to get another pilot, because they did make some that were a little bigger, which is funny because they're all 1/18 scale. Okay, guys, so here it is completed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely recommend, if you can find this model, pick it up. I 100% would go with this one over the 21st Century Toys or even the Admiral Toys version. They both look good. If you can only find one of them, then definitely I would go with one over nothing. But compared to the other ones, the paint job on this one, I mean, the quality it looks like, and even the little details and the writing and everything, especially the heft too. I mean, that means something to me because it doesn't feel just like it's gonna fall apart, although some pieces are definitely fragile, especially the antenna. So be careful if you get it, but if you're going to display this, I definitely recommend it. All right, so I hope y'all like this video. Please like and subscribe. It definitely helps me out. And yeah, stay tuned for more content. Thanks for watching.